A deadly domestic dispute in Gwinnett County leaves a deputy dead and one of her sons with multiple gunshot wounds.
The alleged shooter was arrested after a police chase and is waking up this morning in the Forsyth County Jail. And that's where Good Day's Mark Teichner joins us live with the latest on this investigation. Mark, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, guys. That suspect identified as Eric Sumner, 43 years old, lived in Suwanee, and he now finds himself facing some pretty serious charges, including murder, homicide, as well as 2 counts of aggravated assault. Those that knew her called Deputy Tamara Bartlett a beautiful person, strong woman, and great mom. Saturday night, Deputy Bartlett was killed in what Forsyth County investigators call a domestic dispute. Deputy Bartlett's teenage son ran to a neighbor's house after he was shot multiple times. He told the neighbor his mom and her boyfriend were arguing when the boyfriend started shooting. The neighbor called 911 and applied pressure to the boy's wounds, saving his life. When deputies arrived at the unincorporated Johns Creek townhouse, they found Deputy Bartlett dead in an upstairs bedroom. Her boyfriend fled the scene. Detectives ID him as 43-year-old Eric Sumner of Suwanee. Deputies in Monroe County later captured Sumner after a brief chase on I-75. Sunday, Sumner was brought to the Forsyth County Jail, where he faces charges of murder, homicide, and 2 counts of aggravated assault. In a statement, the Forsyth Sheriff's Office said, quote, "The loss of life to violence is senseless, but the loss of a law enforcement officer should hit home to every one of us." This sadly isn't the first time the tragedy has hit the Bartlett family. Back in 2021, one of her other sons was struck and killed in a hit-and-run accident, and that driver was never caught. As far as her son that was shot during the weekend incident, well, at last check, he was in stable condition at the hospital. Reporting live from Forsyth County, I'm Mark Teichner for Good Day Atlanta.
Tragedy just plaguing that family. Mark, thank you. It's 8:04 now, and in Haralson County, 2 men are in critical condition after police say a man chasing them on an ATV shot them. Investigators said the victims had been riding in a pickup truck on dirt roads when the man riding an ATV started chasing them and fired a shot. The men tried to hide in the woods, but deputies say the ATV driver blocked the road and fired again, hitting the driver, forcing the truck off the road and into a tree. Deputies later arrested the suspect. 41-year-old Omar Bennett admitted to the shooting, claiming he was upset about them tearing up the dirt roads. He also said he believed the truck was stolen.
Police are investigating after 3 people were shot during a basketball tournament in Forest Park. The shooting happened Friday evening at a gym on Hendricks Drive. Investigators described the shooting as a, quote, isolated incident, and they say that there was no threat to the public. Police have not said what led up to that shooting or if they have any leads or who the shooter or shooters are.
Deadly violence cut a Sunday service short and left the church in ruins. At least 4 people are dead and 8 others are hurt after a gunman opened fire. Yeah,
and Fox's Caroline Elliott joins us live from Grand Blanc Township with the very latest. Caroline, good morning.
Good morning, Buck, Alex. The latest we have from police is 4 people are confirmed dead after this shooting and fire. And we're told, sadly, there could be more victims inside the church that didn't make it out in time.
There is a couple additional bodies that we've discovered in the church.
The search for remains continues after a 40-year-old alleged gunman drove a pickup truck into the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc, Michigan on Sunday, killing and injuring several people. As police say, he started shooting and set the building on fire with hundreds of worshipers inside.
Why are we being targeted like this?
Police were on scene within 30 seconds of receiving the original 911 call. Teams then exchanged gunfire and killed the suspect shortly after he left the church.
Within 8 minutes, that suspect was neutralized.
The FBI is investigating this as an act of targeted violence. Officials say the suspect had explosive devices, but believe he used gasoline to start the fire.
These first responders right now, they're in recovery mode. They're trying to fight through all the debris.
President Donald Trump has been briefed, writing on Truth Social in part, quote, "This epidemic of violence in our country must end immediately." And Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer has ordered flags across the state to fly at half-staff through Friday to honor those victims. Buck, Alex.
Caroline, from what we understand, there have been credible threats on other houses of worship in that area as well.
Yeah, Buck, we are told from officials that there were several credible threats yesterday in this area, like you mentioned, to houses of worship or churches in this area. We know this community already dealing with a lot right now, also dealing with other threats on top of this. So really, really difficult situation. But police said that they were able to clear those threats out and make sure nothing was going to happen. Buck.
Carolyn Elliott in Michigan, thank you so much for that. In Gainesville now, an 18-month-old died after getting hit by a car. It happened at a home on Oakland Drive where a family member moved a vehicle, and police say the car unintentionally backed over the child. The baby died at the scene. In a Facebook post, Gainesville police called this a devastating loss.
Well, it was 1 year ago today when firefighters responded to reports of smoke at BioLab in Conyers, and by this time on that morning, flames were shooting through the roof of that plant.
I remember this, and people who lived nearby were told for the first time to shelter in place. Good Day's Caitlin Pratt is here with a look back on a scary time. Caitlin.
That's for sure, and it's hard to believe it's been 1 year. I'm sure, though, for those who call that area home, it's not so surprising. Fire crews would end up being called back to that same Conyers plant around noon when more flames erupted, launching that ominous plume of smoke over the entire area.
A catastrophic chemical fire 1 year ago, sending a toxic cloud up into the sky over Rockdale County. The site of the emergency, BioLab.
Our pool cleaning supply is really worth this level of like millions and millions of dollars lost.
Chemicals, including chlorine, were in the air for days while crews worked to remove debris and the pool shock product underneath. 17,000 people evacuated. Portions of I-20 were shut down, and 90,000 people in Rockdale County and the surrounding areas all instructed to shelter in place. The U.S. Chemical Safety and Hazard Investigation Board's preliminary report indicating the fire and smoke were a reaction to heat-generated materials that were being stored in a warehouse. The materials deteriorated, releasing toxic vapors, and then erupted in flames. Investigators with the board then finding the facility was storing more than double the amount of chemicals originally thought.
The warehouse where the fire occurred was storing approximately 14 million pounds of solid oxidizers.
OSHA citing BioLab for 6 violations, fining them more than $60,000. As the group Community Action Now, in partnership with Morehouse School of Medicine researchers, began working to assess the long-term impact of the chemical fire on the community.
The long-term impact of it is what's scaring me the most.
And that study is set for a 3-year period. Also, negotiations over a formal cleanup plan still being worked out right now. Rockdale County's federal lawsuit against BioLab also ongoing. And Alex and Buck, along with class action cases brought by nearby residents and business owners. So still a lot of things moving, a lot of things to shake out at this point.
I still remember even around here, this far away from Conyers, the air, your eyes burning, you could feel it when you breathed in, and lingering effects for sure.
And that's why people want to know if there are any health effects to this.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Caitlin, thank you.
Thanks, Caitlin.